You know what really makes walking away feel like the hardest damn thing you'll ever do? It's not just the love you had. It's not even the memories you shared. What traps you, what keeps you chained, is the story you built in your mind. The perfect version of the relationship you wanted to have, not the messy, imperfect reality that actually played out. Most people don't hold on to the person. They hold on to a dream. They cling to the hope of what could have been, the future they imagined, the version of that person they believed they could grow with. They see the potential, the what ifs, the possibilities that never quite came to life. But here's a hard truth most don't like to admit. Holding on to a fantasy will always cost you your reality. And by the time you finally realize that, you're not just sad, you're spent. Not because of what they did or didn't do, but because you've been replaying the same painful story over and over in your head, rewriting it with hope for a different ending that never comes. That constant mental loop burns you out, wears down your spirit, and blinds you to what's right in front of you. But if you're done with the endless cycle of heartache and ready to finally reclaim your peace, then listen up. I'm about to break it down for you in 7 points. Real talk on how to let go for good, even when it still hurts like hell. Point 1. You're not really in love with her, you're in love with the story you built around her. Let me be straight with you, man. This isn't really about who she was. It's about the narrative you crafted in your mind, the ideal you painted when things got blurry. You didn't fall for her reality. You fell for the idea of her, the person you hoped she could be, the partner you dreamed you'd have, the future you imagined together. You filled in the gaps where the truth didn't fit. You ignored the red flags waving right in front of you. You made excuses when she pulled away, when she got distant, when things didn't feel right. You told yourself she was just going through a rough patch or that she'd change eventually. And deep down, somewhere inside, you knew the cracks were real. But facing that truth, that was the hardest part, so you avoided it. That's exactly why you're stuck, because you're not holding on to who she really was. Flaws, mistakes, cold shoulders, and all. You're clinging to a fantasy version of her, one that doesn't carry the weight of reality, the disappointments, or the times she let you down. You weren't in love with the woman standing in front of you. You were chasing potential. And chasing potential is a trap. It's a mirage that keeps you spinning your wheels, exhausted and confused. I get how brutal it is to admit this, to realize the person you loved most, the one you thought was the one, only existed in your head, not in the world you shared. But here's the thing, until you stop holding on to that illusion, you're going to keep hurting. You'll keep waking up to the same pain, wondering why it never got better, why she never became who you imagined. Because this isn't love, man. Real love sees the person as they are, not as what you hope they might become. What you're feeling is a dream you've got to wake up from. And waking up might sting, but it's the only way to finally set yourself free. Quick break. Close your eyes for a second. Picture her, the girl you've always wanted. Feel what it would be like to actually have her. Now open your eyes, because here's the truth. Right now, you're invisible to her. You're getting outcompeted by guys with more money, better looks, higher status, and stronger game. You're playing a rigged game, and you're losing. But I've spent the last 35 years mastering this, studying, testing, and finally finding the secrets to get the girls I always wanted. You want to stop getting ignored? You want her chasing you? Then you need to wake up and act. Click the link in the comments if you are truly committed and take the first step toward becoming that guy. Few spots left. Be fast or miss out your last chance to make her yours. Let's get back to it. Point 2. You're waiting for closure that's never going to come. Let me be real with you. Closure isn't guaranteed. It's not some neat little package people hand out when relationships end or when people hurt you. Sometimes the person who hurt you simply walks away without looking back. No apologies, no explanations, no last conversation to make sense of the mess. Just silence. And that silence? It's the hardest kind of pain to bear because it leaves all the questions unanswered, all the wounds exposed. If you're sitting there waiting for that moment, the one last message or face-to-face talk that you believe will suddenly clear everything up and bring you peace, you're only extending your suffering. You keep replaying the scenes, thinking, if only I understood why. Maybe then I could finally stop hurting. But here's the brutal truth you might not want to hear. You already know why. The reasons have been there all along, in their actions, their absence, their coldness, the way they stopped showing up, the way they chose their ego over your feelings. Every time they looked away, every time they chose silence over honesty, they were giving you your answer. Closure isn't something they owe you. It's not a gift they have to give just because it's the right thing to do. Closure is something you have to give yourself. It's a conscious decision you make. The moment you say to yourself, enough is enough. This chapter is over, and I'm no longer waiting for someone who's already walked away. That's when true healing begins. When you stop looking for answers from those who've checked out, you break free from the endless cycle of confusion, pain, and hope that leads nowhere. Holding on to the hope of closure from someone who doesn't care enough to give it, that's like carrying a heavy chain around your neck, dragging you down when you should be rising. Take the power back, choose to own your peace, walk away with your dignity intact, knowing that your worth isn't tied to their apologies or explanations, because the only closure you truly need is the one you create for yourself. Point 3. Stop trying to rewind and rewrite the past. This is one of the most common traps we fall into without even realizing it. We get stuck hitting rewind on our minds, replaying the same moments like a broken record over and over again. You find yourself thinking, if only I'd said that differently, or what if I had done this one thing better? You're trying to rewrite scenes in your head, tinkering with dialogue, decisions, timing, as if changing those tiny details could somehow fix everything or give you a happier ending. But here's the hard truth. No amount of mental editing can rewrite what really happened. The truth isn't in those small moments or missed chances. The relationship didn't fall apart because of one conversation or a single mistake. It unraveled because, deep down, you and her were never truly aligned. Your values didn't match, your timing was off, and your emotional investments were never on equal footing. The foundation was cracked long before the final blow, and no amount of what-ifs can patch it up. Trying to rewrite the past only keeps you locked in a loop, chained to a story that's already over. It's like editing a movie after it's been released to the world. You can't change the plot, no matter how much you wish you could. Every second you spend stuck in that mental loop steals away precious time from your future, time that could be spent healing, growing, and moving towards something better. It's time to stop playing the editor of a story that's already written and released. You have to close the chapter fully, embrace all the messy, painful, and real parts, the good, the bad, and everything in between. Then make a conscious, deliberate choice to move forward. True healing begins when you stop living in the past and start writing your own new story, one where you're the hero, not a victim stuck in memories. Your future isn't determined by the mistakes or heartbreaks of yesterday. It's shaped by the courage you show today to let go and step into the life you deserve. Point 4. Love shouldn't feel like a test you have to pass. Let me be straight with you. When did love become a never-ending exam where you have to prove yourself again and again? When did it turn into this exhausting obstacle course where you're constantly jumping through hoops, showing that you're worthy, lovable, and enough? Not just once, but every single day? Because that's not love. That's a performance, a script you didn't audition for, but got stuck playing. And every time you act it out, a little piece of who you really are fades away. Love should never be a battlefield. It should never feel like walking on a tightrope, terrified that one wrong step will cause everything to collapse. It's not about being perfect or ticking boxes. Real love is supposed to be a safe place, a sanctuary where you can be your raw, authentic self without fear of judgment or rejection. It's a space where you're accepted fully, flaws and all, without conditions or constant tests. You weren't made to live life in a relationship constantly questioning your worth or sanity. You shouldn't have to monitor every word, every action, and every thought just to avoid triggering disappointment or anger. Love shouldn't drain your energy or make you feel like you're always one mistake away from losing it all. It's not a competition, and you're not in some endless race you'll never win. If you've been holding on to pain, thinking that enduring the struggle is what makes you strong, it's time for a reality check. Strength isn't measured by how much you can take before you break. True strength is knowing when to stop fighting a battle that's tearing you apart and having the courage to walk away. Sometimes, the most powerful and brave thing you can do is release the weight of a love that's crushing your spirit. Stop mistaking pain and sacrifice for commitment. That pain you're clutching onto, it's not proof of loyalty or love. It's your heart's alarm, screaming that something has to change. Because real love doesn't hurt this much. It doesn't demand that you lose yourself to keep it. It lifts you up. It fills you with peace and confidence. And if it doesn't do that, then maybe it's not love. It's something else. Something you deserve better than. Point 5. Peace isn't loud. That's why it feels so strange at first. Have you ever noticed what happens when you finally shut the door on the chaos? When you stop answering the calls that keep pulling you back into drama, when you remove yourself from the emotional whirlwind, and suddenly, all the noise that once filled your head is replaced by silence. At first, that silence doesn't feel peaceful. It feels heavy, almost like a vacuum sucking at your chest. Your mind starts racing, memories flood in, and suddenly you're face to face with your own thoughts in a way you haven't been for a long time. And honestly, that can be terrifying. But here's the hard truth you need to hear. That silence isn't emptiness. It's not a void waiting to be filled with distractions, excuses, or noise. That silence is the very beginning of healing. For so long, your mind and heart were trapped in a storm of emotional noise, mixed signals that made you second-guess everything, unspoken doubts that haunted your nights, mental battles replaying every word, every action, every moment over and over again. Your body and mind got so used to that constant chaos that when it suddenly stops, your whole system panics, unsure of what to do with all this newfound quiet. So give yourself grace and time, bro. That initial silence, it's not a sign that something's missing or broken. It's the sound of you reclaiming your power, your peace. It's your mind and soul finally catching a break, finally getting space to breathe, to process, to mend the wounds that were hidden beneath all that noise. When peace becomes your new normal, it won't be this foreign, uncomfortable feeling anymore. It'll be the most powerful, grounding thing you've ever experienced. And once you taste that peace, real peace, you'll never want to go back to confusion, chaos, or emotional roller coasters just for the sake of feeling something. Because peace, true peace, is freedom. It's the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you're whole on your own. And once you've had a glimpse of that freedom, you'll never trade it for anything else. Point 6. Every time you chase, you shrink a little more inside. Let me be straight with you, bro. Every time you send that double text after no reply, every time you lower your standards or bend your own boundaries just to keep the peace, every time you do a little dance trying to make someone care about you, you're not winning love. What you're really doing is giving away parts of yourself, and not just small pieces, important parts of your identity, your self-worth, your confidence, and your dignity. You might be telling yourself, I'm fighting for us, or I just need to show them how much I care. But what's actually happening is a slow erosion of who you are at your core. Love should never make you feel like you have to shrink to fit into someone else's mold. It shouldn't require you to silence your voice, dim your light, or hide your true self just to be accepted. Real love embraces you fully, even the parts you're scared to show, and never asks you to prove your value over and over like some audition for a role you were born to play naturally. Here's the truth that might sting. You were already worthy the moment you showed up. Your value was never the problem. The problem was that they couldn't or simply wouldn't see it. They looked right past it, choosing convenience or ego over truly seeing you for who you are. Chasing someone who overlooks your worth is not love, no matter how much your heart tries to convince you otherwise. It's self-neglect. It's ignoring your own soul's loudest calls for respect, care, and acknowledgement. It's turning a blind eye to your own needs, hoping that someday, somehow, the other person will change their mind and start appreciating you. But that kind of magic rarely happens. The moment you decide to stop chasing, that's when everything begins to shift. That's when the healing starts. You begin to find yourself again, piece by piece, peeling back the layers of doubt and pain that built up over time. You reclaim your power, your confidence, your voice, your very essence. You stop shrinking yourself to fit someone else's version of you, and instead, you grow into the full, unapologetic, unfiltered version of who you truly are. That's when the chase ends, and your freedom begins. When you stop running after someone who doesn't value you, you open the door to those who will. You step into a space where your worth is recognized and celebrated, not questioned or ignored. And that's a game changer, bro. That's real love waiting for you. Point 7. You can't heal in the same place that broke you. Look, I get it. It's incredibly tempting to rewind the tape, to go back and replay the highlights, the good parts when everything seemed to click, when love felt real and alive, when hope whispered that maybe, just maybe, if you gave it one more shot, things could turn around. It's human nature to cling to those moments, to hold on to what once felt like home, especially when the present feels uncertain or lonely. But here's a tough truth you need to hear loud and clear. Healing can't happen in the same space where you were broken. You can't rebuild your peace, your self-worth, or your sense of safety where it was torn apart. Healing demands a foundation of stability, respect, and emotional security. Things that weren't there if that place or relationship left you fractured. Ask yourself honestly, if you never truly felt safe, if you constantly second-guessed yourself, felt anxious, walked on eggshells, or had to censor your emotions, what exactly are you going back to? Is it genuine love, or just a loop of pain, confusion, heartbreak, and false hope? Sometimes what feels like love is actually just the addictive pull of familiarity, the painful known versus the intimidating unknown of moving forward. I'm not saying to erase the past or deny the beautiful moments you shared. Those memories are real and they matter, but memories alone aren't enough to build a future. If you keep running back to the fire that burned you, don't expect the pain to suddenly disappear. You can't heal when you keep reopening the same wounds or standing in the place that caused them. Moving forward means closing that chapter for good. It means giving yourself permission to let go completely, even when it's messy, even when your heart protests, and trusting that your peace, your happiness, your true healing lies somewhere new, somewhere safe, somewhere where you are valued, seen, and respected just as you are. Healing begins when you create space for yourself to breathe, to grow, and to love without fear or hesitation. It starts when you stop revisiting the past and start building a future that honors your worth and your journey. The right place for healing isn't behind you, it's ahead. A lot of people misunderstand what it means to let go. They think detachment means shutting off your emotions, becoming heartless or distant, turning into someone cold and unfeeling. But that's not what detachment is. Detachment isn't bitterness or numbness, it's balance. It's a clear-eyed understanding that you're no longer living through someone else's approval or validation. Detachment means you've taken your power back. It means you're done sacrificing your peace and your happiness for someone who never made real space for your heart in the first place. You don't stop caring when you detach. You just stop over-caring. You stop exhausting yourself trying to fix something that was never yours to fix. Here's the real talk I want you to hear. Letting go isn't a single moment or a dramatic break. It's a daily practice, a quiet but fierce decision you make every day. Every time you resist the urge to check their socials, every time you refuse to rewind the conversations in your mind, every time you silence the hope that maybe they'll come back changed, it's in those moments that you truly let go. You are not the man who begs. You're not the man who has to prove his worth again and again. You are the man who leads with peace, who values himself enough to walk away with dignity and power. You're the man who knows that sometimes the strongest move is the one where you simply say, enough. And if you've been holding on to someone who never showed up the way you did, if you've been pouring your heart into a space that never welcomed it, drop one word in the comments, just one, done. Let the world hear it. Let yourself hear it. You're done begging, done breaking your own heart, done settling for less than you deserve. From this moment forward, it's you versus everything that tried to break you. And I'm betting on you, bro, every single time. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you being here. If this message spoke to you or gave you something to think about, do me a favor. hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new drop. I've got more real talk, more growth, and more power coming your way, so stay locked in. And if you're going through something right now, just remember, your silence can say more than 1,000 words ever could. Take care of yourself, keep rising, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.